In this video, I'm going to be ranking every single hostile mob in Minecraft on a scale of S tier being the best and F tier being the absolute worst, garbage, trash. Let's get into it with one of the coolest mobs, which is the Killer Bunny. The Killer Bunny you can get really rarely from spawning bunnies, or you can just find it in the wild, but it's crazy rare. It's a version of the bunny with red eyes that tries to kill you, and I don't know, I feel like just that alone makes it one of the coolest hostile mobs in Minecraft, but it being so rare that most people are never gonna see it, it's like a 1 in a million, I just don't think I can quite put it in S tier, but it is a very cool hostile mob, so I'm going to be putting it in A tier. Ghast are really annoying. I hate seeing them. I think their design is good. I think them being massive definitely adds to the atmosphere of the Nether, but I don't know. I feel like they're annoying, they're kind of freaky looking, and they're really hard to kill. So I think I'm going to have to put the Ghast in D tier. The next one is slimes. Slimes are a cool addition. I feel like a lot of people don't think about slimes when they think about hostile mobs in Minecraft because slimes are a little bit underappreciated, but I think the idea, the execution is all perfect, and there's nothing that I would really change about slimes, especially with them dropping such a useful thing with the slimes. I feel like that's just such a cool addition with slime blocks and stuff that they need to be higher up on the list, so I'm going to be putting slimes in A tier. So the Angry Wolf is probably going to go in B tier. I feel like, I mean, it's technically a hostile mob, but not really, and it is definitely up there, but it's just a wolf with red eyes, and hitting any wolf can make this happen, so it's not super rare or anything, and I mean, it's cool, but I don't know if it's quite as cool as something like the Killer Bunny or anything, so I'm going to be putting it in B tier. Cave spiders, honestly, I think cave spiders are definitely better than normal spiders in terms of they have a unique ability which is poisoning people, they have the cave spider spawners, and I just think overall they're one of the better hostile mobs in terms of uniqueness, and I feel like its color works also really well. I like that you can't totally tell that it has a color, but you can see the little bits of blue, and the blue is a really vibrant blue, like, I don't know, everything works for the cave spider for me, so I'm going to be putting it in A tier. I don't totally know why the dolphin's on here, but if it is, I'm going to assume that it's a hostile mob, so I'll put the dolphin in B tier. I'd assume that it's a special version of it or something, but I really like dolphins, so I'll throw it in there. The Guardian is one of the most annoying mobs for me. I think it's terrifying, but that's probably just because I have a fear of the ocean. But I can't ignore the fact that it's unique, and I think it's a good mob, just like on the basis of it, but for me personally, I don't like it. So, I don't know, I feel like objectively, I should put it in B tier, and I mean, I probably will. It's a good mob, it's strong, it's unique, so I'm gonna put it in B tier, but me personally, I do not like the Guardians at all. The Ender Dragon is almost definitely an S tier mob. I mean, come on, that's one of the coolest mobs in Minecraft. Its fight is obviously awesome. All of its mechanics are awesome. Do I really have to argue why the Ender Dragon is in S tier? I mean, it just has to be. The Enderman is also pretty high up there for me. I feel like I'm putting a lot in A tier, but I think it has to go in A tier just because I like that it can grab stuff, I like that what it drops is super useful, and I feel like they have a good mechanic. If you look into their eyes, they're going to attack you, but if you don't, you don't, so it makes the end more challenging, but also adds a little bit of an extra mechanic on top of it, so I think everything with the Endermen work. And they're scary enough to work as a mob, but not too scary to make kids want to, like, not play Minecraft ever again. So, definitely an A tier mob for me, at least. The Endermite is just kind of whatever. There isn't really anything that the Endermite gives that's super important, or it doesn't really serve any purpose. It doesn't look super cool, so I think C tier is kind of the best place that you can put it, because it's whatever. So, C tier seems like a good spot for it. Or maybe this is the other, whatever, it's the same for me. I think it's cool, but honestly, this is a little bit embarrassing, but I've never gone to the Atlantis in Minecraft just because I can't. I am too scared of the ocean, and I know it's just Minecraft, but I can't go over there. It's too scary for me. So I'm going to also put that one in B tier. The Magma Cube. I feel like the Magma Cube is honestly a really cute mob, and I haven't heard that a lot, but I think it's one, like, it compared to the slime design wise, I feel like it's up there, but I mean, come on, you're not gonna use the magma cream for like anything, and I feel like you just don't see it very often. It's a little bit more annoying than the slime because the little ones can still hurt you, so I don't know. I feel like I have to put it in B tier even though I really like the design. So the Elytra, I feel like a lot of people are gonna want me to put this in F tier, but I think it's just D tier. I think the design is super cool, but everything else just kind of sucks. I guess it's good that they have a mechanic that makes people need to sleep when they're further into the game. They would go in F tier, but their design is just so cool. So the next one is polar bears when they're angry. So polar bears, I don't know, I guess angry polar bears would probably go in C tier. I don't really like the polar bear as a mob, but I guess it's cool that they're in there and they don't piss me off, so C tier seems like a good place for them. The angry pufferfish, that one's a funny one. I feel like B tier is probably the right place for it. I like that the pufferfish can hurt you and it has the poison effect, so I don't know. I think it's good. There's not much you can say about that one. It's just cool. And the silverfish, I don't know. I don't want to rate it low because it's annoying, because it's kind of made to be annoying. But I don't know. I feel like its design is good. It's cool. And they've honestly made it a lot less annoying in recent times. Like, it used to be that you break a block in the stronghold and thousands of silverfish come out like from everywhere, and it's the worst thing ever and you instantly die. But now it's really not that bad. Maybe you see one or two, they're a little bit annoying, but I don't know. I feel like they've made them a lot better. Their design is cool, and it's cool to have an interesting mob that you don't see until you enter the stronghold, and it's only in this one specific place. So it's probably going to go in B tier. Okay, the spider, this one might be a little bit controversial, but I feel like it's an A tier. And hear me out. I feel like the design is kind of whatever. But out of the four most iconic, being creepers, probably zombies, skeletons, and spiders, spiders is probably the least iconic, but it changes the game maybe the most. I mean, probably creepers change it more, but spiders make it to where you need to have a roof, and they make it to where you need to add some special element to your base to where you have to specifically avoid spiders. And obviously their drop of string is awesome. Bows, fishing rods. It's just one of the most useful mobs starting out, and I think it adds so much to the game that honestly I think I have to put it in S tier. Now that I've kind of talked myself up, I think it is an S tier mob, so that's my final decision. Okay, I don't even know what this thing is called. I totally forgot, and I don't want to mess up what I'm going to call it, but this is the worst mob in Minecraft. It is so ungodly amounts of annoying, and it just is the worst. Maybe it's because I have bad experiences of it. I've been traumatized by it, but I hate it. I hate it. If it were removed from the game, I would be happy. I would rejoice. It's just the worst mob. Undoubtedly the worst mob. So the Wither is one of the bosses in Minecraft, and I feel like compared to the Ender Dragon, it's definitely a worse boss. You're going to be killing it a few times if you're playing like a super long survival world, but at that point you'll probably have like an easy method to kill it without even having to fight. So it just kind of ruins it for me, honestly. I feel like if you could kill one or two Withers that were really hard and you had a really good fight, it would be a much better mob, but it's just kind of a boss that you have to grind out, and not a lot of people have taken the time to actually fight it because it destroys the landscape around it. So I just feel like it could be done differently to make it a really good boss. Now, I'm not totally sure on the different names of the villager ones, but I think this one is like the Vex or the whatever. It's the guy that does the magic, so I'm going to put him in C tier. I don't really like any of the villager mobs. I think they're all kind of annoying to fight, but I don't know. I feel like they're a good addition and they have unique fighting styles, but they're kind of annoying for me, so I'm going to put this one in S or in C tier, mostly based off the fact that I don't really fight it. I believe that this one is not actually in the game. It's just like a special thing that you can summon, but you can't get it in vanilla survival Minecraft, so I'm just gonna put it in C tier also. And then the witch is definitely one of the more annoying mobs. It doesn't really add much to the game, and it just kind of is obnoxious. I guess that's the point, but couldn't you make it drop something a little bit better than just like random redstone stuff? I feel like the witch could have done better, and they just kind of left her in this unfinished state where she's just like annoying and another difficult boss that spawns. And then we have creepers. Creepers are obviously, I think, going in S tier. Later on in the game, they still matter because you need to get gunpowder for elytras, for TNT, which is really useful late game. And early game, they matter a lot. So it's just like they keep their relevancy the whole time. Obviously, they're one of the most iconic mobs in Minecraft, and I just don't know how I couldn't put them in S tier. They add a lot to the game by blowing up, surprisingly, by making you rebuild stuff. That's part of the purpose of the creeper, is to get you to constantly be working on your base and constantly be building, which is something that the creeper does. I mean, you need to continuously filling your creeper holes, and so I think it's just an S tier mob, and I'm not gonna get any argument on that one for sure. The skeleton's an A tier mob for me. It drops obviously really good stuff. It's fun to fight, and I feel like overall it just works really well. I just don't know if there's enough there to put it in S tier. So it's gonna be A tier. It's really solid. It's really cool. Drops great stuff, and it's just good. Just good overall. So A tier for that one. The stray is kind of like a worse version of the skeleton that doesn't really have a purpose to exist, but I guess it looks cool. I would put it a little bit lower just because it's kind of like pointless, but I guess because it has a cool design, I'll put it in B tier. But there's not much to say about it. The blaze is probably going to go in A tier. Obviously, you need to beat it to beat the game, and it's as difficult as it needs to be. I feel like it's the perfect amount of difficult and annoying, and everything just works. And the design's super cool, and you can do extra stuff outside of just making ender eyes with the blaze rods. So I feel like it works in every single way, and I love mobs where there's a reason to go back and fight them over and over because they have a resource that you need to continue to restock. So A tier seems like the perfect place for the blaze. The iron golem is, I'll just rank it as a hostile mob and ignore what it can do outside of that. I like that it's super strong and can take you out in one hit, so I think I'll put it in B tier. I think as a hostile mob, it works really well, and I don't know if I can consider it a hostile mob fighting against other mobs, but that's a really cool thing that it does. And if you place one on your base, I just don't know. I feel like the iron golem is one of the better mobs in Minecraft, and honestly, I think I'll move him up into A tier. I don't know if that's cheating considering some of his non-hostile mob stuff, but he's a really cool mob, and I think regardless of if he's mad or happy, he's still really cool, and that's an A tier mob in my opinion. The shulker is really good. Obviously, it has a unique ability, and it drops really good stuff. It's pretty cute. It's cool. You have to do stuff with it if you want to get all the achievements by bringing it in to the overworld, so there's extra stuff there. And I just feel like it's one of the best mobs in terms of creativity. It just overall, it's one of the best mobs, so I'm going to put it in top of A tier. Shulker, I think, is almost inarguably one of the best, most creative, most fun to fight mobs in all of Minecraft. So I'm going to rank the baby zombie and baby husk in the same tier, which is B tier. Are these annoying mobs? Yes. Are these going to ruin your game? Yes. But is that cool? Also, yes. I think it's good that they have a mob that is just so comes out of nowhere. It really rarely spawns, but it can just like wreck up your day. It is super strong, and I've seen so many hardcores fall to these things just because they're impossible to hit, but they're also not too impossible to hit that if you're aware of your surroundings, you're not going to die to one of these. But if you're not expecting it, you're out. And that's what keeps you on your toes, and I feel like that adds a lot to the game, to where these are probably going to have to go in A tier just because they're really good and they add a lot to the game. They might be annoying, but they're annoying in the right ways, which is what matters. The Vindicator's a little bit too boring for me. I feel like I get what they were trying to go for with it, but I don't know. I feel like they could have done it differently. It's unique enough, but for me, I know a lot of people are going to like the Vindicator, and they probably have a lot more experience with it. I don't really fight the Vindicator often. I'm kind of like a boring Minecraft player. I don't go for all that stuff, so I don't know. I might see him in a woodland mansion or two and get annoyed. He's strong, but I can't put him much higher than C tier in my opinion. The Wither Skeleton is one of the cooler mobs. I like that the Wither Skeleton exists. I like that you have to kill a lot of them to get the Wither Skulls, and they work for me. They're really hard, but they're perfectly hard because you're going to only be fighting them after you've beaten the Ender Dragon and after you're trying to fight the Wither. So it's kind of like, this is like your test for if you are going to be able to fight the Wither. If the Wither's mechanics work properly where you actually had to fight him, I think it'd work probably better. But it's still an A tier mob in my opinion, just because it has a lot to do with it and it adds a lot to the game. Now the zombie, I feel like I have to put in A tier. Obviously it doesn't do that much unique stuff, but it's the basic mob that you need to fight. It's not too hard, it's not too easy, it's perfect, and it adds a lot to the game. It's A tier. Even though it's basic, it's iconic, and it's important to have in the game, so that is an A tier mob for sure. The Drowned it's in B tier. I feel like it's good. I like that they added a mob into the ocean that's not like a fish. Obviously the Triton's a cool ability and is a cool addition to this mob. Without it, it would feel a little bit empty, I think. So I like that they added that, but I don't know if I can totally put it above B tier just because, I don't know, it's fine, but it's not that great. The Angry Llama is gonna have to go in C tier. I mean, whatever, it spits, that's cool, but I don't know if there's a ton you can do with it, and I mean, it's not very strong, so I don't know if I can put it much higher than C tier. The Angry Panda is a similar story. I mean, you're never gonna want to hit a panda, and if you do, you can just run away. They're not that fast, so yeah. Now we have some of the raid bosses. We have the Pillager. The Pillager's fine. I like the Pillager outpost and everything, but I think they're just kind of a boring mob, so I'm gonna put that in B tier. I mean, they're basic. They're not gonna do much more than just the basic stuff that they're meant to do, so I don't know. I feel like B tier is the right place for it. And then we have the Ravager to finish us off. I feel like the Ravager is a really cool addition, but it doesn't do that much in terms. It's just a strong, tanky mob that's gonna be hard to beat. But outside of that, it's just like, it's whatever. It's kind of boring, but it does what it's supposed to, so I can't really rag on it too much. So B tier seems like the perfect place for it. And that is just about it for this video. If you guys did like it, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Peace.